Forget the monsters you see in the movies. The creatures that really get under your skin are the ones people swear are real. The stories whispered in small towns. The grainy footage that defies a simple explanation. The historical accounts that read more like horror scripts than history books. These aren't just spooky campfire tales. They're legends so chilling, so strangely convincing, they'll make your favorite scary movie feel like a fairy tale. Today, we're counting down 5 urban legends that live in that blurry, uncomfortable space between folklore and fact. I'm Kevin from Know Your Deeds, and these are 5 urban legends. Number 5. The Fresno Nightcrawlers. In November 2007, a Fresno resident was checking his security footage when he saw something he just couldn't explain. Striding across his lawn were 2 bizarre stick-like figures. They were surprisingly small, the first one barely reaching 60 centimeters or 2 feet tall, looking like nothing more than a walking pair of pants. They moved with this weird fluid gait, one following the other before vanishing into the dark. The homeowner was reportedly so disturbed that he was scared to leave his house for weeks. The footage eventually made its way to paranormal investigators, who were pretty much stumped. A team from the show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files even tried to debunk the video. They attempted to recreate it with puppets and clever tricks, but struggled to replicate the creature's unique walk, ultimately finding it incredibly difficult to fake. What makes the Nightcrawler so unsettling is how simple it is. It's not some grotesque monster or a violent ghost. It's just weird. The video is just clear enough to see that something is there, but just blurry enough to make you tear your hair out. It doesn't fit any known box. Not an animal, not a ghost, not even a traditional alien. Then it happened again. In 2011, another security camera near Yosemite National Park caught creatures that were strikingly similar, moving with that same unnatural leggy walk. Skeptics argue it's just a clever hoax or an elaborate puppet, but believers point to how hard it is to mimic that movement, not to mention the independent settings. So, what are they? Unknown animals? Visitors from another dimension? Or just a pair of pants out for a late-night stroll? The total lack of answers is what makes the Fresno Nightcrawlers so deeply creepy. Number 4. The Owlman of Mawnan. At number 4, we're heading to the misty shores of Cornwall, England, to the quiet village of Mawnan. It's here, in the shadow of a 13th century church, that a terrifying creature was reportedly spotted in the spring of 1976. It soon became known as the Owlman. The story started in April when 2 young sisters were on vacation with their family. While exploring the woods near the old Mawnan church, they looked up and saw a massive winged creature hovering over the church tower. They described a feathered bird man as big as a grown man, with glowing red eyes and dark pincher-like claws. The girls were so terrified by what they saw that their father packed everything up and cut the family holiday short by 3 days. He was so concerned that he reported the incident to a local paranormal researcher, even giving him a sketch his daughter had drawn of the thing. A few months later, in July, it was seen again. 2 14-year-old girls camping in the same woods were confronted by what they described as a big owl with pointed ears as big as a man, with those same horrifying glowing eyes. Sightings kept popping up over the next couple of years, always around that old church. Now skeptics have a pretty reasonable explanation. A misidentified escaped captive eagle owl. While these massive birds aren't native to the UK, an escapee with its 6-foot wingspan would perfectly explain the monster in the church tower. But witnesses were adamant. What they saw wasn't just a big bird, it looked humanoid. The detail that makes the story so compelling is the sheer panic in the witnesses. The Melling family didn't stick around to sell their story. They fled. Their immediate drastic reaction gives this account a chilling weight. Whether it was a giant owl or something else entirely, the pure fear it created has cemented the Owlman of Mawnan as a truly frightening piece of modern folklore. Number 3. The Hopkinsville Goblins. For our third entry, we go back to a hot summer night on August 21st, 1995, in rural Kelly, Kentucky. What happened at the Sutton family farmhouse that night is still considered one of the most bizarre and well-documented close encounters in history. It all started when a family friend went outside to get some water from the well. He saw a bright, colorful light streak across the sky and land in a gully near the house. He ran inside to tell everyone, but the family just laughed it off. About an hour later, the farm dog started barking like crazy before it took off with its tail between its legs. That's when the visitors showed up. Two of the men went to the back door and saw a small humanoid creature walking towards them. It was about 106 centimeters, or 3.5 feet tall, with a shimmering silver-gray body that glinted like a metal refrigerator. Panicked, the men grabbed a shotgun and fired, but the shot made this bizarre pinging sound, as if they were shooting a metal bucket. The creature flipped backwards and scrambled into the darkness. Moments later, another one appeared in a window. They shot it, and the same thing happened. For the next 4 hours, the two families, 11 people in total, were besieged by what they claimed were 12 to 15 of these goblins. They'd pop up at windows, claw at the roof, and peek around corners. The men fired their guns over and over, but the beings seemed totally immune to the bullets. Finally, in a state of absolute terror, all 11 of them piled into their cars and fled to the Hopkinsville police station. The police who showed up noted the family's genuine terror. They weren't drunk, they were legitimately panic-stricken. A search at the farm revealed plenty of evidence of a shootout. Bullet holes everywhere, but no creatures. When the family finally returned home, the beings reportedly came back, tapping and peering into the windows until dawn. The Air Force even investigated as part of Project Blue Book, but ultimately dismissed the case. Still, the consistency and sheer number of witnesses makes this story impossible to forget. Number 2. The Bell Witch. At number 2 is a story so deeply woven into American folklore that it's often treated more like a historical event. This is the legend of the Bell Witch, a case from Adams, Tennessee, where a spirit is widely blamed for the death of a man. The torment of the Bell family began in 1817. It started small, knocking sounds on the walls, the faint sounds of whispers. But soon, the entity grew bolder. It started physically assaulting the family, pulling blankets off their beds, slapping them, and pulling their hair. It seemed to focus its malice on the father, John Bell, and his youngest daughter, Betsy. Eventually, the entity developed a clear voice and identified itself as Kate, the witch. The story spread like wildfire, and people came from all over to witness the phenomena. Kate would apparently hold conversations, reveal people's darkest secrets, and even predict the future. Legend has it that Andrew Jackson even brought a witch tamer to the farm, only for his wagon to be stopped by an invisible force. While historians find no mention of this in Jackson's personal papers, the story has become an inseparable part of the legend. The spirit's hatred for John Bell was relentless. It cursed him, tormented him, and vowed to kill him. John's health began to fail rapidly. In December 1820, he fell into a stupor and couldn't be woken. A mysterious vial of dark liquid was then found in the medicine cabinet. The voice of Kate proudly announced that she had given it to him. When a single drop was tested on the family cat, it died almost instantly. John Bell passed away soon after. The story is famous for being one of the only cases in American history where death is so widely and historically attributed to a supernatural entity, solidifying its place not just as a ghost story, but as a terrifying chapter of American folklore. Number 1. Walking Sam. And now for our number 1 pick. This legend isn't scary because of a monster or a jump scare. It's terrifying because it's where ancient folklore collides with a modern, real-world crisis. This is the story of Walking Sam. Walking Sam, or Takahi, comes from the folklore of the Lakota Sioux people in South Dakota. He's described as a shadowy, skeletal being about 7 feet tall with long, thin arms and no mouth. He is said to move through the trees like smoke, seeking out those in despair. The legend says he whispers to them, encouraging them to take their own lives. While this is an old story, it took on a horrifying new meaning between 2014 and 2015 when the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation was devastated by a wave of youth suicides. The situation became so dire that in early 2015, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council took the unprecedented step of declaring an official state of emergency. During this tragic time, the name Walking Sam was on everyone's lips. Elders warned young people to stay inside at night, and some teenagers claimed to have actually seen a tall, slender figure lurking in the trees. Tribal leaders even reported finding nooses hanging from branches, left like a grim invitation. The true terror of Walking Sam isn't about whether a physical monster was stalking the reservation. It's about how an ancient story, a suicide spirit, became a powerful, terrifying symbol for real-world pain and historical trauma. It's a legend that serves as a chilling personification of despair itself, making it the most profoundly scary urban legend on our list. From ghostly apparitions to creatures caught on camera, these legends persist because they tap into our deepest fears. They remind us that sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that don't end when the credits roll. They're the ones that leave us with one lingering, unsettling question. Was it real? After hearing these stories, which one is going to keep you up at night? Let us know in the comments below. These stories really blur the line between what's real and what isn't. If you're fascinated by the unexplained, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and ring that notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.